Welcome to Alpha Wolf Capital. I'm Tim, and I want to personally thank you for stopping by. This channel is designed to help small companies, both public and private, gain exposure with potential consumers, investors, even partners. Take, for example, today's guest, CEO Dennis Calvert, for part 3 of our 4-part interview, and we are focusing on the Biolargo Energy. Ticker symbol BLGO. Biolargo Energy is a subsidiary of Biolargo. Uh, Biolargo Energy has Cellinity, which is their sodium liquid battery that so far I think many of you might find pretty darn interesting. Biolargo has a chance for 3 shots on goal with 3 significant products that could have a very positive impact on humanity. So let's continue with our interview. This video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. I am not a financial advisor. I recommend highly that before buying any security, you speak to a financial advisor and do your own due diligence.
I mean, it's unbelievable. And so I look at that and I think, now that's not going to carry the day, but incrementally what we've done is gotten in a position to be able to say to the marketplace, we have a winner. We have a winner. And we know it. And now I understand people need to see that proof of claim and commercialization and all the other stuff that's coming. But at least now internally, we've done sufficient work to be able to say, okay, we got a winner. Let's get to it. And it did take a little bit over a year and a half. And we were predicting a little faster. So anyway, it's really exciting though to be here.
What are the milestones that people should be looking for? Um,
Well, we got a bunch going. I mentioned the DOE, which was pretty cool. So we'll be working with the National Lab for validation. We're in discussions with 2 companies, prominent companies, to be third-party validators of the technology. And again, so that's important because we'll need a source other than ourselves to validate that it does what we say it does. So that's fine. The other then is we have partnerships in discussion, a bunch of them. And each one of those has a little bit different twist, like why they're interested. One's a land development energy park. Perfect. We say, hey, let's put this into an energy park. Let's build a factory. Let's supply the grid. I mean, this whole sort of integrated thinking. We have a partnership with a group called Tribal Infrastructure Group, and we're doing business development with them, which is tribal nations. Tribal nations would love to have manufacturing. They'd love to have microgrid development. The government will sponsor a lot.
Typically, with tribal partnerships, they want that 51% or 60% of ownership, right?
Exactly. Perfect. We've got nation states where sovereign wealth, people that want to be front runners in the energy field globally, big data centers, they all take notice. They all take notice. And so they're each going to come along in their own mind share of de-risking, right? Some may not get involved early, some will want to get involved late. To me, there's so many. It's just a matter of finding the one that really can help us piece the things together that make a viable general partnership structure that allows us to support the kind of infrastructure necessary to go live. And so I think, along that way, we'll advance those partnerships, and one day we'll call up and say, okay, we got one live. And in our business model, here's the thing to remember: when we have a live one, we get paid to build it, and then we participate in the revenue stream post execution, which means we don't wait 2.5 years to make money. We make money day one. And then we build this for a partnership of which we're a minority stakeholder and a licensor of technology into. And so that's the trade, right? We give more than we take. And the balance of that bargain is so good for the investor and so good for the partner that we believe that they'll bite. I mean, that's the bottom line. They're going to bite because it's so good. And so then they say, well, is it real? Oh, let me show you. Are you real?
So your concept of your business model is in Pooph right now. right? I mean, that is a clear indication of how the business model works.
It is. It's a quasi combination of IP transfer and supply chain participation. In the simplest of forms, that's the idea. It's a hybrid. And we like, why hybrid? Well, because we got all this core talent. I got engineers and scientists all over the place. They can do all this stuff. We are credible. And what happens is as we embark on these ventures like the battery tech, you almost have to be ready to do it all by yourself. But by the time you get through just where you're pushing through to do it all by yourself, that's when everybody wants it. And so the business model is nimble so that we don't say, I got to go out and hire 1,000 people. My gosh, everybody in the world's having trouble hiring engineers and talent. We don't have to do that. What we need to do is show that it's doable, fund the partnerships, do the bargain, the trade, and then go do it. And that's kind of where we're moving fast. So
Hey there, folks. I want to tell you about a new app that I am very excited about. If you want to up your investing game with Wall Street wisdom, stay informed, save time, and gain an edge, then you're going to want to check out this app, StockPick. You can discover pro tips from top investors and expert curated financial news, all in quick video short form clips. I've been using this app and I got to tell you, I love it. I am extremely impressed with the quality of the content. It keeps me informed, and I have to tell you, I've used all kinds of comparable services out there. This one is priced at 79 US. It is a steal of a deal. And right now, on top of that, you can get an additional 25% off. I'm telling you, folks, I think you're going to love this app. Go to the description of this video and find the link. Make sure you use my code to get that 25% off.
So I would argue that while we're validating the scale up and the manufacturing techniques to scale, those partnerships have a chance to form. And so that's my job. Get those deals done, come back and say, hey, we're live. And so live means the model would say, okay, we've got $140 million we're going to go spend somewhere for this partnership. We're going to generate probably around 60 million worth of revenue over 2.5 years. We're going to get a little margin on that. And when we're done, that factory is going to go live and we get 19%, 6% royalty. How many can we do? All right. That's the idea. And again, I don't diminish the detail because, it's funny. Everybody's a critic, which is fine, but I had a very sophisticated investor. He says, well, do you understand the sophistication required to do that manufacturing? I said, have you looked at the team behind me? I mean, really, it's like, are you kidding me? We've been doing this. These guys have been doing this for 30 years. So yeah, we can do that. And no, we're not afraid. Not afraid at all. And that doesn't mean it's simple. It just means that's what our people do. We are skilled in this art. We can do this. And so I look at that and I say, okay, so now it's about strategy and purpose and the right partner and then careful execution. And somebody says, well, can you really do 10? I'm like, well, let's do one.
Right.
We'll do two, and then we'll do five. I mean, right? You just can't jump out and say, I'm going to do 10 tomorrow. It's not going to work that way. And so you broaden it, you narrow, find the right partner, get execution. Market realizes it's real, capitalization occurs, more capital access occurs, scale up, here we go. It's not rocket science. And again, across the portfolio, that's the idea of the company. And as I say, I'm sorry the first successes took so long, but don't worry, the rest are going to be successful too. I mean, that's the truth.
Let's
Yeah.
real quick. I wanted to focus primarily on the batteries because I just think energy source is such a huge thing. Um, and I was petrified of the fact that China controlled all of the materials that go into these batteries, and this is something that eases that concern for me, right? So, but you have Cleara and you have
Pooph, PFAS.
PFAS, which has gotten more and more. Seems like it's getting more and more press all the time, and how these forever chemicals are we're finding out more and more are not good for human beings.
Right. Well, so yeah, I can give a snapshot real quick. So remember, our thesis is that we're the most excellent collector. Okay. Now choose the words carefully. We're the most excellent collector. Okay. Meaning we're really good at taking it out of the environment, concentrating into a super concentrate, which allows for portability, easy to manage, efficiency. And when the waste stream that we produce as we collect is 1 pound versus 40,000 pounds of the competition. 1 pound versus 40,000 pounds of waste for the competition. I just want to
So
make sure
why
you
is
got the
that
number.
so important, Dennis? I mean, how did they get rid of that 40,000 pounds worth of stuff?
Right. So with the encroaching regulatory enforcement, RCRA and CERCLA, there's an increasing awareness of the liability of handling that hazmat, destruction of the hazmat, the portability, the transport. What are you going to do with it? And so 40,000 pounds of hazmat laden waste is not good. That's not good. It's going to be very expensive. So we ran a life cycle cost, and we believe that we're going to be somewhere between 40% and 10% of the competition in cost. I mean, we've got a massive cost advantage, mostly because we can super concentrate. So that's interesting. Now, we also have expertise in destruction. So we have some intellectual property advancing there. But the reality is, as the most efficient collector, we become a toolkit that can partner with most excellent destroyers. Okay, so there's a lot of companies making significant inroads in the commercial market for destruction. And so we're already in partnership conversations with a bunch of those big boys and talking about making a deal. In the meantime, we got our first installation. It was scheduled for October and November. We're waiting for the building to be built. It's a little delayed. I actually don't know when that's going to happen. It's, I hate to see it happen, but stuff happens. And we know it will happen, but it's out of our control. So unfortunately, that's a validation for an installation in the field that we really want. And to our knowledge, again, I say it very carefully, to my knowledge, to our knowledge, we're the only alternative tech that's actually had a commercial installation or commercial client. We're the only one. Okay, so what does that mean? That means ion exchange and carbon systems are being deployed, which are an incredibly inefficient solution for this target. Unbelievably. Now, remember, we brought in a bunch of honchos from the water industry, including Sally Gutierrez. Sally was 32 years at the EPA, 22 years head of R&D for the United States of America Environmental Protection Agency on water quality. She's good as she's awesome. And she said to me, I think you really have a chance to make an impact all over the world. I'm like, well, that's why we do it. Because if it was all about making money, I'd do something else because this sucker is hard. Anyway, she says, no, you're gonna impact the world for greatness here. And I'm like, okay. So anyway, the punchline to that story is that's now led to collaboration with the EPA. Perfect. So now hear what I've said. We're working with the DOE, now working with the EPA, and the validation at that level. They're slow, they're laborious, they're tedious, they don't move fast. But the good news is that it's beyond reproach, and it's validation for the world. And our technologies find that position over time. Same thing's happening in medical. At the highest level, they find adoption. And the reason is because we've done the work to position these solutions for dramatic impact at a global scale. And so you just gotta just wait it out.
It's the get out of me that it takes so long to get these things implemented. That is my biggest issue, is that we have so many. There are a lot of small companies out there that are tackling big problems, and nobody knows about them. And the saddest thing to me is, if they don't find the support that they need and they don't get the adoption, then eventually what happens? They wind up going away. They go out of business.
Run out of money. They just peter out because they get so tired. Yeah, so the beauty in our and again, we don't get it perfect, right? So we're realistic about where our shortcomings are. But in our business, our diversity is one of our greatest strengths because they all revolve around core competency of talent, science, engineering, innovation, purpose. And so somebody says, well, how do you make money? I said, dude, I got like 50 ways to make money. We just get to pick which ones we're going to focus on and that's an enviable position for a CEO. We have a chance to invest where the ease of entry, the doability is doable, and the ROI is significant. Most companies can't do that, not at the early stages. And I'm looking at it going, that one's going to make a bunch of money and do great work. That one's going to work. And so, again, while we balance the deployment of capital to get through an adoption cycle that sometimes is very unpredictable. Okay, so do the work, find the right partner, partner up with validators, get it through the cycle, get one, get two, get 10. As you find your way through all that, one day somebody says, "Where have you been?" I'm like, "I've been here for 3 years knocking on the door. You just weren't listening." So, and that's real, that's what goes on with PFAS right now. We've talked about this thesis for 3.5 years now. So in fact, I had an institutional investor just the other day. He said, "What's different now than 10 years ago?" I'm like, "What, are you kidding me?" First of all, we're making money. We got no debt. Second, we got a whole portfolio. The technical claims have been vetted. I've got over 50, I think it's 15 pilots to prove technical efficacy for our PFAS. We've got our first commercial account. Show me another technology and an emerging tech that's got a customer, for God's sake. I mean, it's light years from where we were. And then you say, "Yeah, but it just hasn't broken out." And I'm like, "That's right. That's exactly right." And so what you do is you have to make good, wise choices about how you leverage your core competency for scale. And that's where I think in the long run, we're going to shine the brightest. And again, I know it's testing some patience because it takes a lot of work and money to get there. The good news is they're all going to go. And so that's the beauty of the company. Now, the other thing in our valuation, I was talking to the analyst just the other day. I said, the market doesn't really give us value for the blue sky. Right now, we're trading at basically on our technical performance. We're making money, we got revenue, and then we trade in a multiple. I'm like, "Did you hear what I said about our medical products? I mean, these are number one in the world." "Well, we don't know, are they?" Listen, I get it. I get it. But I'm like, "Oh yeah, they're number one. They're going to take a market. And by the time, if you wait, you're probably going to miss it, but that's fine. I got it. I'll just show you." And the same thing with battery. We've said a year and a half ago, these are the technical claims. They said, "Well, you don't know." I said, "Well, we have good reason to believe, but you're right. We have to go do the work and then come back with the proof." Well, that's what we just accomplished. And then he said, "Well, that's not enough." I got it. Okay, we're going to go now get some third party validation. And then we're going to have a partner. And then we're going to make some cells. And then we're going to make some more cells. And one day we're going to pop up here and have a juggernaut running down the racetrack.
Well, Dennis, it's been a long road, but I got to tell you, man, this is what I'm all about right here, is finding the companies that are going to change the world. And I think it would make life better for all of humanity, right? And you are not a company that's just looking at tackling one problem. You got four of them that are
And remember the business model, we're building equity with our partners too. So Pooph, that's an important one. I always say, I remind the analysts, remember we own 20% of the exit on the brand equity. And they go, "Oh yeah, I forgot." I'm like, "Forgot? How could you forget?" I said, "That company's going to sell for $500 million, $1 billion. I don't know, big. It's going to be a big number. We're going to get 20% of the exit." And so that's an underlying asset. Same thing's going to go on with medical. Same thing's going to happen with PFAS. Same thing's going to happen with batteries. So while we may not realize all that value until there's a day of recognizing the exit, nonetheless is building equity value. So the hybrid, right? That's the hybrid business model. Technology, supply chain, equity. And that really works. And especially if you can stay alive long enough to get through it, which of course we've demonstrated we can. So
yeah, that's the only thing. It's funny that you said that, man, because I was sitting there, I was wondering, how old is Dennis? Is he gonna
I
be
was young when we started. The young guy. Yeah, no, I know. It's like a career. It's crazy. And again, I said this just the other day in a public speaking engagement. We're getting asked to speak all over the world now. It's crazy. And because why? Well, because we tell a story that's very unusual, a commitment to purpose, sustainability, innovation, this very sort of creative finance strategy, staying power, all those things are very unusual. And has made the comment. I said, "If you told me it was going to take 18 years to find our first success, I don't think I would have done it in my 40s. I mean, I'm like, run, run, Forrest. It's like, geez. But what happens is two things. One is you find incremental success. Then you have a lot of people depending on you. You're driven for purpose that you haven't given up on. And Clear is the best example of that. Clear, the technology is all about infection control and post-surgical infection. Okay, so in the surgical suite and wound and burn care, all that. That goes back to the origin story of the company over 25 years ago. And now we're finally finding our way. And we created a sub, we brought in external investors, we recruited senior talent. I don't know if you saw a press release just the other day, but the head of advanced wound care for Mayo Clinic over 20 years, Dr. Cavros, just joined as the chief medical officer for Clear Medical. Okay, so and if you look at the key opinion leaders who are surrounded the company, they're the best of the best. The best of the best. Same things in water, same things in energy. We attract the best of the best. Well, okay, it took a long time. That doesn't mean it's not going to go. It's going to go big, and it's got a global platform to go make impact for good, right? And so when people come beside us like that, these are people who have spent a career as a public servant. They care about patients first, and that gravitates them towards us. And the same thing with water, with EPA. Sally's a public servant. She spent her whole career serving the United States of America. She looks at me and says, "You're going to serve the United States of America and the world." I'm like, "Yeah, that's exactly right." I mean, it's great, right? And so anyway,
Yeah,
the point of that is when you look at 18 years, it goes by in a blink because you sit back and you say, it's worthy of a career. And by the way, and the way I think about it is we got 4 companies in one, and each one's worthy of a career. See,
right.
it's good. It's
And,
really good.
and when you and I talked before we hopped on, you think Biolargo's only got these 4 things going
A lot more.
on?
Well, there's subsets in all these, right? So yeah, their platforms, for example, in the medical field.
Hey there, folks. Hope you're enjoying part 3 of the interview with Dennis Calvert from Biolargo, ticker symbol BLGO. If you are enjoying the interview, please do us a favor, give us a like. How about giving us a share? And make sure you smash that subscribe button. All of those things are extremely important to us here at Alpha Wolf Capital, and we appreciate you taking the time to do that. Until next time, stay safe. Alpha Wolf Capital wishes you the very best of success.